Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's me, Weeb here, with part 20 for What If Naruto Was a Demigod. If you guys have been paying attention to the last couple of parts, you all know that there's some questions that we have not had answered yet, as well as a few characters that you guys might be wondering about. This is part 20, and it's going to be pretty exciting. I've been excited to make this part for a long time now. It's been a week since part 19, as you already know what happened with Sasuke being removed from his powers of the 7 deadly sins from Itachi using the Totsuka blade. Now that Itachi's dead, as we already know, and Sasuke's been claimed by the Akatsuki, just like in the original, now that his powers have gone, we don't know where the 7 deadly sins are. All we know is that they flew off into a direction that seemed a bit different, heading towards the land of wind, actually, now that we think about it. But anyway, Naruto and his group have to head back now, as Naruto is getting back to the village. As some of you may know, if you've watched the original Naruto Shippuden, then during the time that, Naruto was chasing after Sasuke, and Sasuke was fighting Itachi, Jiraiya was in the Rain Village, as he was interrogating, getting information to try and figure out who this mysterious Lord Pain was. As we already know, this was what occurred in the main original timeline. However, as we get into the story now, let's get right into it. We open up the opening scene of the beginning of the episode as we see a drop of water fall from a plant leaf. From there, we then see two toads, as Jiraiya climbs out of it, the toad sage of Mount Miyaboku. As Jiraiya climbs out, he then says, "Alright, climb on out, we got work to do." As this happens, we then see Blaze Realis climbing out of the second toad, kind of trying to rub the slime off as he pulls out his own immortal weapon. He then tucks into his pocket and tells Jiraiya that was disgusting. Jiraiya tells him that it's hard to get used to, but they've got some work to do from interrogation. We have a slight flashback to a few weeks before Lord Gaara, the Kazekage, was taken. After Jiraiya and Naruto had just made it back to the Leaf Village, Jiraiya had actually been sent to go and meet up with Blaze Realis, as the Sand Village had some information about the Akatsuki that would be occurring soon in the Rain Village after they had some of their spies figure out that the Salamander had gone missing. They were sending their strongest, arguably their strongest ninja to go with Jiraiya, as they might believe that it could be harder for him to handle on his own. So Jiraiya and Blaze were sent together, just as Jiraiya and Blaze had left, actually. The Akatsuki, Deidara, as well as Sasori had waited for him to leave and to take out, the Kazekage. Now that Gaara had been taken, everything that occurred from the last few parts would occur. Moving back to the current day, however, Jiraiya and Blaze are heading off into the Rain Village, when they decide that the first thing they need to do is get some information. Blaze, after the 3-year gap, is much taller now, and he has scars across his chest as well as his back, as well as one long one across his eye down his face. His red hair has become slightly darker, and he seems to have a much more musculature build after swinging around his hammer for so long. Blaze and Jiraiya would then continue sneaking off into the actual Rain Village itself. As Blaze looks around the corner, he then tells Jiraiya it's okay to move forward, and they both quickly use chakra to boost their speed, jumping from building to building. Suddenly they hear something, and Jiraiya stops Blaze from moving forward. Look down there. They see 3 Chunin seemingly carrying something as they bring into a building. They then all jump down as they jump the Rain Chunin. As they take out the Rain Chunin with a fair amount of ease, using only Taijutsu, Blaze then takes over the transformation of one of them, as well as Jiraiya. They then use the interrogation methods that Jiraiya had originally used inside of Jiraiya's Toad Stomach Jutsu. After they have completed getting all that they could out of this guy, Jiraiya then quickly sends him back as he puts the body into the toad, so that way, in case anything may happen to him, he can send it back to the Leaf Village for further investigation. Blaze and Jiraiya continue moving out throughout the entire Rain Village as they begin to move closer towards the central tower, using what they know that Lord Pain could be living in the highest tower in the actual village itself, and something about a Lady Angel. As Jiraiya and Blaze are moving throughout the entire actual city itself, suddenly rain is beginning to pour heavier, and this rain is filled with chakra, as Pain is detected that someone has entered his city. Pain and Konan immediately can detect this, as Pain heavies his chakra in order to sense exactly where they are. He quickly then sends out the 6 paths of Pain, as they begin to go and find the two that have invaded the actual Rain Village. As this has occurred, Blaze senses something. Jiraiya, something's heading this way. 7 chakra signatures, something extremely powerful. As this is going on, Blaze can sense the immortal chakra reminiscing off of the 7 deadly sins powers that have just been released from Sasuke Uchiha. Jiraiya, we need to get out of here right now. If I'm sensing what I'm sensing is accurate, then there's no way we can take whatever those things are on. And it might not even have to do with this pain or whatever we know about him, but we have to hide now. Him and Jiraiya dive into one of the sewer grates as they wait. As nothing happens, seemingly, for the chakra to be too far away, Blaze and Jiraiya cautiously get out, but just as they do, one of the 6 paths of pain appear. Jiraiya and Blaze take him on, and the same battle occurs as in the original. Jiraiya punching this seemingly undead creature, as this person with orange hair looks similar to one of his own students, Nagato, just slightly different. However, Jiraiya sees his Rinnegan, and it shakes him to the core, thinking about his previous students. Blaze tells Jiraiya to snap out of it, as he quickly uses his flamethrower style, Divine Blade. He quickly forms a humongous sword of flame and slices through the doll, cutting it in half. As this occurs, the dead body falls sideways, as it then sends using its chakra ability of the animal path back to the other 5. They quickly get over there as they grab the parts and remend it back together using the King of Hell. Jiraiya and Blaze have now seen too much and they must die. Jiraiya and now Blaze are rushing off through the sewers as they try to avoid the paths of pain. As they continue rushing, Blaze then hears something as he sees Mom and Pa Toad be summoned from Jiraiya. Blaze, hold them off for at least 4 or 5 minutes. If I can activate Sage Mode, then it should be a lot easier to take them on. Blaze nods and then pulls out his divine weapon, his Holy Hammer. As he begins to spin it, the 3 paths of pain come rushing around the corner. Blaze's silver hammer grows into a large in size, and he easily starts taking them on in taijutsu, outspeeding and smashing them to bits. However, they keep recovering and coming back, as one of them seems to be able to deflect jutsu, and another one seems to be able to heal them. This is tougher than I thought, Blaze is thinking inside as Jiraiya is holding out. Jiraiya finally gets his Sage Mode activated, and him and Blaze fight them off back. As they rush outside onto the lake, they then see that the 6 paths of pain have all gathered on the ledge. Blaze is then looked back at by Jiraiya, as Jiraiya sees that what's going to happen. Suddenly he tells Blaze that they have to hold out as long as possible. They need to get a message back to their villages. He then nods as Blaze tells Jiraiya that he knows what he has to do. He then quickly activates his own power, as he then taps into his divine power that he had been training for the past 3 years. Blaze suddenly holds his hammer as he grabs 2 ends of it, as he flows chakra throughout himself and the weapon, summoning the immortal weapon's true power, just as what Hera did during the time when she was fighting against Naruto, from what we recall, during the 3-year gap. Blaze suddenly breathes out as smoke comes out of his lungs. He then opens his eyes, and in them we see that his eye pupils have changed into a bright changing aura, as now inside of them has actual flames burning through the irises. His entire body is now covered as he then says, "Divine Flame of Rebuke." He then has a golden light covering his entire body. He quickly turns his gaze towards one of the 6 paths of pain, and it instantly bursts into flames, killing the one that Jiraiya would originally have killed in the original. Jiraiya, now seeing what's going on, tells him that they can actually win, as him and Blaze stand back to back trying to defend against them. This is when the actual Tendo path comes out. The Tendo path of pain, or what we know as Yahiko. Jiraiya is frozen, and just as this occurs, they all summon their chakra rods and are about to stab him. Jiraiya turns to Blaze and tells him one last thing before he dies. "Blaze, get out of here now." He then tells Blaze that and gives him the message, carving it onto him just as he had done, using his own fire style onto Blaze's wrist. He then tells him to run, and that he has to get this message back to the Elite Village. Just as the 6 paths of pain are ready to stab their chakra rods into Jiraiya and Blaze, finishing them off, Jiraiya quickly summons the Toad, as well as Pa and Ma Toad, who he then has get inside of the Toad, along with Blaze. He forces Blaze down as Blaze loses his Flame of Rebuke for a second. "Jiraiya, no! You have to live! Don't die!" At this point, the Toad disappears into the water, just as Jiraiya looks back into Blaze's eyes. He then whispers one word, which Blaze hears. "Tell Naruto, I'm sorry." Suddenly, we hear blood splatter, as all 6 chakra rods pierce into Jiraiya, killing him instantly almost. The 6 paths of pain look out as the frog disappears into the water, and they say that it's about time that they make their move. We now see Jiraiya slowly falling throughout the water. Naruto, I failed. I failed at everything I did. I failed my students. I was meant to be a great master, to bring a great change in the ninja world, to end this hatred, all of this endless bloodshed that occurs. I failed you. This is the tale of Jiraiya the Gallant. It's time for a new chapter, though, and I had to save you and Blaze. You two are the only hopes for your respective villages. You, Blaze, as well as Gaara and the rest of your age. Our generation is over. It's time that you guys take up the fight. Do your best. Just as this occurs, Jiraiya's body sinks to the bottom of the ocean as he falls into a dark pit of which we'll never see him return. Naruto in the forest, returning after the Sasuke incident, feels a hand on his shoulder, and he turns around suddenly, wondering what's going on. As this happens, suddenly something occurs that no one could have actually thought was possible. The 7 deadly sins finally arrive in the Rain Village, just as they begin to head towards the master that was easily a replacement from Sasuke. We see Nagato sitting there with Konan, when suddenly all 7 of the 7 deadly sins enter Nagato. Immediately, his Rinnegan begin to change as the pattern of the 7 deadly sins begin to engrave itself upon them. He begins to scream in pain as he feels something beginning to burn into his very soul. Konan, what's going on? Nagato, are you alright? Nagato feels pain as all the 6 packs of pain suddenly receive 1 sin each, leaving him with only 1. The only sin left, the sin of pride. As Nagato now has himself as well as all of his paths now filled out with the 7 deadly sins, their powers skyrocketed. Both Blaze as well as Naruto sense something explode across the map, as a power that he had never even sensed was possible before just erupts out of nowhere. Sasuke awakens just as the 7 deadly sins have taken their new master, and he feels something inside of him lose much of his spirit, as if though a shard of his soul had been taken by them and now given to the new master that they had claimed for their own. Sasuke? Obito comes out of nowhere and asks Sasuke if he's alright. I'm fine. Now Madara, or Obito, tells Sasuke about the story of his brother. We then go back as we see Naruto heading back to the Leaf Village. Blaze has just made it back to the Leaf Village as well, completely passed out as he's laying there on the sand, nearest to the lake of which he had been re-summoned by the toads. As Blaze is laying down, completely knocked out and wiped from his chakra, he then slowly crawls his way up as he looks at the message written on his arm in code. He then takes the other toads and tells them they have to make it to Lady Hokage. As he passes out on his way there, Naruto and the rest of the team who had been looking for Sasuke finally make it back to the Leaf Village. And as they do so, Naruto's walking when he sees a hand sticking out, and he hears the words, "Help me, save Jiraiya." He falls to the ground as Blaze completely passes out, Naruto being the last thing he sees. Naruto sees Blaze and instantly recognizes him. "Blaze? What are you doing here?" He rushes over to pick him up as he sees that he has marks all over him, cuts and bruises, and he looks like he had just been in a fight. His chakra is completely out. Naruto quickly uses Cloud Release to make it easier for him to travel, and he puts Blaze gently down on top of it. He then pulls Blaze along with him, as well as the other frogs who had made it back, or the toads you could say, who had come with Blaze back to the actual Leaf Village. As they make it back, they head up to Lady Hokage's office, and Blaze is laying there passed out. Tsunade takes him into recovery and begins to work on medically healing him. Blaze recovers and has bandages wrapped all around him, as he tells Lady Tsunade and the rest of the group what happened. Lady Tsunade, Blaze begins to cry tears as he covers his face. "I failed. We failed. Jiraiya, he's... His voice begins to shake and quiver as Naruto says, "What is it? What happened to Jiraiya?" Blaze looks up and then looks Naruto in the eye, full of sorrow. Jiraiya is... Tsunade's eyes open as she feels her forehead creasing as she doesn't want to hear the next word. He's dead. Tsunade then pounds her fist on the desk in anger, remembering what Jiraiya told her, that she should always bet for him to not come back as her bet's always lost. Him laughing as he walks off with Blaze as they head out on their journey. Blaze puts his head on his hands as he thinks that he failed, and then he tells Naruto he's so sorry. Naruto stands there looking shell-shocked, his mouth hanging open and gaping, as his eyes look hollow. He then asks Tsunade if this is true, and then Lady Tsunade nods and tells him that Blaze as well as Jiraiya had been sent on a mission together. Naruto rushes off as he runs out of the office and heads out to the same swing. As Naruto sits on that swing in the forest, he then thinks about all the times that he and Jiraiya had spent together, how long he had got to know him, and how he'd become like a father figure to him. He flashes back to seeing Jiraiya first teaching him the Ion Sphere, as well as the Rasengan, as well as him and Jiraiya traveling across the land when they were traveling together during the last 3 years. Naruto is extremely depressed and sad. He doesn't come out of his room for several days, and as he's sitting in there, rain begins to actually cover the entire Leaf Village. The weather itself begins to storm for the next several weeks. As this takes place, they suddenly begin to decode the message. Blaze, now having recovered from the shell shock of Jiraiya's death, gives them the message that he had told them about, that Jiraiya had left on his forearm using burn marks in order to actually get the message across before he died. Jiraiya's words would then be written down again, as Blaze was then healed by Tsunade afterwards. Blaze says thank you and that he should probably rest here for a little while, and that he had some things he needed to talk to Naruto about, actually. Blaze and Naruto would meet up after several days, as Naruto would still be laying in bed when he hears a knock at the door. "It's me," Blaze says as he opens the door, creaking it open, seeing the room is dark and Naruto laying on his bed, face down. "Naruto, Jiraiya had some words he wanted me to tell you. He wanted me to let you know that he was sorry that he couldn't make it back. It was the last thing he wanted me to tell you before he made it, and that I know that he's proud of you." Naruto looks up as his eyes look hollow and not the usual bright blue that they always had. He then tells Blaze to go away, as Blaze stands there telling him that he can't do that. Shikamaru would come by as well after Blaze is staying there for almost 4 hours, Naruto ignoring him. Finally, after they've been staying there, Naruto begins to feel an anger inside of him as sparks fly over his body. He then turns around, almost completely filled by rage, as he feels the Kyuubi inside almost trying to take over. "Why did you come back? Why did he not make it? Why are you here and he's not?" Blaze looks back almost horrified as he thinks about this, and he hadn't even thought about how it must have looked at Naruto, that he'd been a coward, that he'd ran away. "Naruto, I'm sorry. You don't know anything. You don't know anything about me. You just came back and you let my master, Jiraiya, Naruto stops and he says, "No, never mind. It's fine. It's not your fault." Naruto then gets up as he walks out, as he pushes past Shikamaru and Blaze. Naruto goes to the same grocery store and buys a popsicle. As he splits it, he then thinks about the time that Jiraiya had given it to him. He then eats one half of the popsicle. As he's doing so, then suddenly, Iruka Sensei comes walking by. And as he does so, he sits down next to Naruto, taking the other half. Naruto looks up and wonders what's going on, and he sees Iruka. Iruka's smiling down at him. Naruto remembers that he's not alone, and Iruka tells him that Jiraiya was a great man, and that he had put his trust in Naruto to take on his journey, to become greater than himself could ever be, to fulfill his mission. And that Naruto can't be like this forever, because that's not what Jiraiya would have wanted. Jiraiya would want Naruto to fulfill his mission and complete his life's work. He then puts his hand on Naruto's back, and Naruto cries a single tear, telling him that I just wanted Jiraiya I wanted him to see me become Hokage someday. And now, he'll never get that chance. Iruka pats Naruto on the back and tells him that he may be gone, but he's not gone forever as long as we remember him in our hearts. Naruto looks up to Iruka and nods, telling him that he's gonna do better, as he says thanks to Iruka-sensei as he walks away. The next day, Naruto gets up with no hesitance and tells Tsunade that he's ready for whatever threat's coming this way, as Tsunade then shows him the code that Jiraiya left behind. As she does this, Naruto recalls the page number of a certain book that his master had written. He tells her about it, and they use it as reference. This is when they figure out the code itself, and everyone's amazed at what it says. The code says, "The real one is not among them." This is when Toad pipes up and says that he's right and that him, Jiraiya, and Blaze, when they were there, had realized that for some reason they all looked the same with Rinnegan, and it was impossible for so many Rinnegan rulers to exist, as well as that they all had these weird chakra and mark rod engravings inside of them, or pierced into them. It was quite odd. In fact, as we look later on, we still have the body of the last Pain, although it's a bit charred after Blaze's reaction to it. They then begin to work on the autopsy on the Pain that they had taken. When Naruto walks in after the code had been decrypted to hear what it was all about, Blazer Alice is standing there and he's looking down. He tells Naruto that he's sorry, and Naruto puts a hand on his shoulder and tells him he's sorry he snapped at him like that. Blaze looks up with his red crimson eyes and tells him it's alright. He then tells Tsunade that he has a request that he'd like to take. He requests of the Leaf Village to allow him to take Naruto for as much time as they can give him, because he believes that if Naruto can unlock the power that he had unlocked during the last 3 years, him and Naruto together might be able to actually defeat this new threat. Naruto is wondering what he's talking about when Blaze explains to him as he pulls out his own small silver bar. You have an immortal weapon as well, correct? Naruto remembers a flashback to when he had battled Lady Hera, and how she had taken for him, saying about how he didn't deserve those powers. He then tells Blaze that he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, but what is it called again? Your immortal weapon. You have a scythe, right? Naruto nods as he pulls out his own bronze and silver mixed scythe. Blaze then asks Naruto if he's able to actually awaken his weapon's true power. Naruto has no idea what he's talking about when Blaze holds out his hands and uses the Flame of Rebuke to activate. He then asks Naruto if he knows how to use his own weapon's ability. Naruto has no idea what he's talking about, and then Blaze nods, telling him that he turns to Lady Tsunade. I believe that if Naruto were to be able to unlock his own weapon's ability, it might be easy for him and I to be able to defeat Pain together. He crunches his fist as he thinks, to avenge Jiraiya, as well as to finally finish him for good. Naruto asks what he's talking about, as he thinks that he might be able to defeat him already. Blaze then tells him to power up as much as he can to show him his max ability. They then decide that they'll have a little spar to see who's stronger. Then Tsunade approves of this as they begin to have their spar in a small arena. A lot of the other ninja actually begin to gather around to see the two upstarts who are quite powerful in each of their own right. Blaze then tells him not to hold back, as Naruto says he wasn't planning on it. Blaze activates his Flame of Rebuke weapon as he pulls out his silver hammer, his holy hammer. Naruto pulls out his scythe as he begins to grow it in length, then holding it back as he tells Blaze he's ready. Just as he does so, Naruto then activates his Eagle Eye, and as he does this, he then quickly puts Lightning Body over his entire body, using Lightning Release to create the lightning armor that he's used, as well as he activates Dragon Sage One on top of this, causing his power to skyrocket. Blaze is surprised by this, but Blaze is amazed by Naruto's power that he's gained over the last 3 years, and tells him that this might actually be a challenge after all, as Blaze and Naruto dive into each other for the fight. Blaze comes swinging down with his hammer as he smashes the left side of Naruto, causing his arm to creak in on itself as Naruto winces. Naruto then slices with his scythe against Blaze, who dodges out of the way as it cuts his shirt, revealing it to reveal his bare chest. Blaze then makes a sound and calls him a pervert, when he then rushes back towards Naruto, quickly swinging his hammer in a spinning motion, about to hit Naruto. Naruto quickly uses his lightning body, and he uses his immense speed to teleport away from Blaze. He then quickly uses his own technique and creates the Ion Sphere, about to use it to attack Blaze. As he's about to thrust the Ion Sphere at Blaze, Blaze turns around seemingly instantly as well, using his own massive speed boost, and puts his hands together. He forms the flamethrower sword that he had mastered over the last 3 years, as he creates the holy golden blade of flame. He then slices the Ion Sphere in half as the Divine Chakra versus the Divine Chakra negates itself. Naruto's quite impressed with this technique, as Blaze then gets into a fighting position. Blaze drops his hammer as he tells Naruto it's time for some hand-to-hand combat. Naruto throws his scythe to the side as he tells him he's ready, as they both dive into each other. Blaze comes swinging with his fist as he punches Naruto in the jaw. Naruto then comes down using a sledgehammer attack on top of Blaze's head, causing his brains to get shaken up as he gets flung into the floor. Blaze stands up as he does a sweeping kick just as he's about to stand, causing Naruto to fall to his knees. He then punches Naruto in the chest, causing him to lose his wind for a second. Naruto then jumps into the air as he uses his own style of jutsu to fly into the air using wind style. As he's flying into the air, he then quickly uses one of his better techniques. Using Cloud Release, he fills out a cloud throughout the entire battlefield to confuse Blaze's actual vision. Blaze tells him that he can get rid of this cloud easily, because since clouds are actually partially made of water. He then begins to heat up his entire body as flames cover him. Blaze summons a ton of heat coming from his body, as the forges that he's used to from almost volcanic levels pushes all the clouds away from the immense heat pressure. Naruto stands there almost unfazed, as his eagle eyes begin to stress his face out and the rest of his muscles too. Blaze and him continue to fight until Naruto comes with a plan. Naruto quickly uses a lightning clone, as Blaze doesn't know about this technique for what he believes, and he has the clone Roshin. At this point, Blaze tells him that he can easily take this clone out, as it's probably just a mere shadow clone. He then punches through the clone, and as he does so, it self-destructs on top of Blaze, causing him to get shorted out for a second. Naruto then says, "It's time to finish you. Rasengan!" Naruto uses the Rasengan, and Blaze's body goes spinning as he gets flung out of the arena, losing to Naruto. Naruto holds his fist up and then rushes over to Blaze and helps him stand up. Blaze laughs and tells Naruto that was amazing, but unfortunately he doesn't think he's still strong enough to defeat that guy. And from what he sensed, that person must have gotten even stronger. Naruto then thinks back to when he was coming back from the Leaf Village. "You sensed that too?" "Yeah, I did. There's only one way that we can actually get you strong enough as well as myself in order to beat these guys." Naruto's curious about this, and Blaze then tells him that, "You see your weapon there? What's its name?" Naruto has no idea what he is actually talking about. He then explains to Naruto that his actual weapon's name is the Holy Hammer, of Hephaestus to be more precise. Naruto's confused and asks what he means. Blaze then explains to Naruto that him as well as himself both have divine chakra, right? Naruto then thinks back to that Hera lady who he had defeated a while ago. Just like her, except she had much stronger chakra. He then tells Blaze all about his battle of Hera for his divine powers when he had to fight for them to get them back. Blaze then explains to Naruto about his journey over the last 3 years, and how, while he had been traveling across the land, he had found a old shaman's cave, which inside of he had gotten a vision from his own father. "You see, Naruto, our parents are actually what we would like to call gods." Naruto is confused about this when he doesn't really understand what he means. Of course you won't. Our parents, one of them at least, is actually a god. It means that they're more spiritual beings and less physical. You don't know who your parents were, right? Naruto shakes his head, saying he never found out who they were now. Blaze then tells him that he had lived with his father for a while, but he has no memories of him either, as his father had died, quote-unquote, before he had been adopted by Gaara's father. It seems our situations are quite similar, actually. And remember when you fought that other guy, Hades, down below several years ago? Naruto thinks about the incredible power that he had attained when he had used both the Kyuubi's chakra and his own divine power against Hades. "Yeah, I do. That guy was a god as well. See, I believe that our parents have given us some of their power. However, we can't actually awaken most of it due to our mortal chakra getting in the way. So I figured out a way to mitigate this by using this." He pulls out his immortal weapon and tells Naruto that it had been a gift from his father when he was a young child. "I think that our weapons are actually conduits for us to store our mortal chakra into while we use our divine chakra at its maximum power. Like how when I use the Flame of Rebuke, I can push my body to higher limits, similar to how you use your Eagle Eye. However, it's not its final evolution, I believe. Am I correct?" Naruto remembers, and he then puts his hand on top of his fist, remembering something so important. Naruto recalls the power he had used against Daedalus when he had awakened the Rasengan. However, he'd been completely unable to attain this power ever since. He tells Blaze, "Yeah," and that he understands what he means. Blaze then explains that your weapon and you have a connection. If you can master using your actual divine weapon and exchanging chakra with it, you might be able to unlock that power again, which might actually be enough to defeat this guy. Pain. "Do you think you can do it?" Naruto nods and tells Blaze that he's ready for anything, as Naruto and Blaze head off into the mountains to train. Unknown to them, however, Nagato had slowly been going insane from the power that the 7 deadly sins had been giving him. Now that the sin of pride had taken him over, his pride to be the strongest, to have the renowned Rinnegan, had overflooded his normal emotions. Nagato, now who desires to rule the world and have true peace more than ever, to make everyone know and understand true pain, tells Konan that they're heading out now, as Konan and the rest of the 6 paths of pain are all heading out towards the Leaf Village. if you guys want to see the next part 21 for What If Naruto was a demigod, then make sure to hit the like button, comment down below what you thought of this part, as well as just like say whatever in general. But you know, just have a good time. If you don't know about it already, you can become a member on the channel. I'll be doing member live streams as well as some other exclusive member videos pretty soon. So if you want to get on that action, make sure to do that. It's if you can't, then it's understandable. Understand how everything's going on. If not, that's cool. But if you have some extra cash on you, you want to hang out and, you know, just get a rank or something, then yeah, fun time. Anyway, I will see you all in the next video. I hope you all enjoyed this. Bye.